Have you ever woken up and, within seconds, gotten straight out of bed without a second thought? It seems harmless, right? But what if I told you that this simple gesture, something you've done for decades, could triple your risk of a stroke after age 60? Stroke, or simply brain attack, is one of the biggest global health threats. It's estimated that every year, over 15 million people worldwide suffer a stroke. Of these, about 5 million die, and another 5 million are left with permanent disabilities, such as difficulty walking, speaking, or even eating independently. And the most alarming part, many of these cases could be prevented with simple measures, starting first thing in the morning. In this video, as a physician specialized in brain health, I'll reveal the morning mistake many people make without realizing it, why it's so dangerous for those over 60, and what you can do, starting tomorrow, to protect your brain and prevent a stroke. But pay attention, don't skip any part. Each chapter is a piece of the puzzle to understanding the danger and, most importantly, how to avoid it. Before we begin, if you care about your health and your family, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those you love. This simple act could save lives. Let's uncover this mistake together. One almost no one knows about, but that could change everything. You open your eyes, sit up in bed, and almost without thinking, you're already on your feet. You walk to the bathroom or kitchen as if on autopilot. But in that simple moment, something critical is happening in your body. During sleep, your body enters energy-saving mode. Your heart beats slower, blood pressure drops, and blood circulates with less force. Your brain, in turn, also reduces its activity. Upon waking, this entire system needs time and care to return to its normal rhythm. If you get up too quickly, your body may not keep up with this posture change. This can cause a sudden drop in blood pressure, a temporary reduction in blood flow to the brain, dizziness, blurred vision, fainting, and, in more severe cases, ruptured brain vessels or clot formation, situations that drastically increase stroke risk. This is one of the most critical moments of the day for those over 60. That's why understanding how your brain and cardiovascular system work in the early morning is essential to avoiding serious problems. A stroke, or cerebrovascular accident, CVA, is a medical emergency that occurs when blood flow to part of the brain is interrupted. Without oxygen and nutrients, brain cells begin to die within minutes. And the longer the brain goes without blood, the greater the damage. There are two main types of stroke. The first is ischemic, accounting for about 85% of cases. It occurs when a clot blocks a blood vessel in the brain. The second is hemorrhagic, which happens when a vessel ruptures, causing bleeding into brain tissue. Both types are extremely serious. Depending on the affected brain area, a stroke can impair speech, memory, movement, or even breathing. Many people are left with permanent disabilities, needing wheelchairs, losing independence for simple tasks like eating or dressing, and facing a long, painful rehabilitation process. And there's one point that deserves special attention. Most strokes happen without warning. Unlike other health problems that give clear signs over time, a stroke can occur suddenly and devastatingly. The good news? Most strokes are preventable, especially when we know the triggers that increase risk, like improper morning habits that abruptly alter blood pressure and brain circulation. Now that you understand what's at stake, it's time to discover why the brain is so vulnerable in the early hours of the day, and how this directly connects to stroke risk. Aging healthily is a common desire. However, statistics show that after 60, stroke risk rises sharply, and it's precisely in this age group that extra care is needed. According to the World Health Organization, over 70% of strokes occur in people aged 60 or older. And more, the chance of someone in this age group suffering a second stroke, if they survive the first, is significantly higher. Additionally, recovery after 60 tends to be slower and often incomplete. This happens because the aging brain has less plasticity, less ability to reorganize and compensate for damaged areas. Another key fact, up to 90% of strokes are linked to modifiable risk factors, like hypertension, sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, and seemingly harmless daily habits, such as how you wake up. So, what you do in the first hours of the day can have a direct impact on your brain health. A small mistake, repeated daily, can become an accumulated risk, until the moment your body can't take it anymore. In the next few minutes, we'll explore how the body and brain function in the early morning, and why this period demands maximum attention. Suffering a stroke isn't just facing a medical emergency, it's living with the consequences every day, often for the rest of your life. For survivors, the impact goes far beyond physical health. It affects independence, self-esteem, family routines, and even social life. Many stroke patients lose control of parts of their body, experience paralysis on one side, struggle to walk or speak, and need constant help for simple activities like bathing, dressing, or eating. There are also deep emotional effects: depression, anxiety, frustration. The loss of independence is often one of the most painful aspects, both for the patient and their family, who often become full-time caregivers. And the most worrying part: many of these consequences could be avoided with simple measures. Small daily actions, including how you wake up and get out of bed, can make the difference between a full life and a future dependent on others. Caring for your brain means caring for your freedom, dignity, and ability to keep living with quality. During sleep, the body enters a deep rest state. Brain electrical activity slows, blood pressure drops, and metabolism adjusts to conserve energy. This is a natural and essential process for the body's regeneration, especially for the nervous system. But it's upon waking that one of the day's most delicate transitions occurs. The brain must exit this rest state and resume its functions at full speed. This involves reactivating the autonomic nervous system, which controls heart rate, breathing, and, crucially, vascular tone, how blood circulates. In the early morning, there's a natural cortisol, stress hormone, spike. This spike helps the body wake up, but it also increases blood pressure and heart rate. In young, healthy adults, the body usually handles this adaptation well. But in those over 60, especially with hypertension, diabetes, or circulatory issues, this transition can be dangerous. If the brain doesn't receive enough blood during this time due to a sudden posture change or abrupt physical effort, stroke risk increases significantly. Understanding how your brain works upon waking is the first step to avoiding automatic behaviors that could overload it. Upon waking, the body must quickly adapt to a change in scenario. You go from a horizontal, static position to a vertical, active one. And this demands a lot from the cardiovascular system. At night, while lying down, blood circulates evenly. But when you stand, gravity takes effect. Blood tends to pool in the legs, and the heart must pump harder to ensure blood keeps reaching the brain. This extra effort requires a rapid blood pressure response. In younger, healthier people, this adjustment happens naturally. But in older adults, especially after 60, this mechanism may fail or take longer. This is known as orthostatic hypotension, a blood pressure drop upon standing. This phenomenon can cause dizziness, near fainting, or even loss of consciousness. More seriously, when the brain doesn't get enough oxygen in this moment, it can become distressed, increasing the risk of clots or ruptured fragile vessels. In other words, getting up abruptly, without giving your body time to adapt, imposes dangerous stress on the circulatory system. And if this repeats daily, risks accumulate. Now we reach a critical point, the mistake thousands make every day, unaware of the risk they're taking. Getting out of bed abruptly, waking and immediately sitting up and standing quickly, is one of the most dangerous behaviors for those over 60. This seemingly harmless act can cause a sudden blood pressure drop, reducing blood flow to the brain precisely when it's needed most. It's like trying to power up a delicate device with unstable voltage. The brain wakes in a low-activity state and needs minutes to warm up and adjust to the new rhythm. When you stand up at once, it may momentarily lack sufficient oxygen. This habit is especially risky for those with hypertension, diabetes, heart issues, or taking blood pressure medications. For them, daily abrupt rising can triple stroke risk. And most alarming, many morning falls or fainting spells, later blamed on heat or weakness, are actually symptoms of this silent mistake. That's why learning to get up correctly is crucial. And that's exactly what we'll show you next. The habit of getting out of bed abruptly seems harmless, but after 60, it becomes a high-risk trigger for the brain. And there's a clear scientific explanation. With age, the circulatory system becomes less efficient. Arteries lose elasticity, blood pressure grows unstable, and blood flow regulation to the brain weakens. This means any sudden change, like quickly going from lying to standing, can cause a sharp blood pressure drop. This drop leads to a momentary reduction in brain blood supply. In a young, healthy body, this is quickly compensated. But in an aging body, this adjustment may not happen in time. The result? A temporarily oxygen-deprived brain, which can cause dizziness, fainting, and, in severe cases, clots or ruptured vessels, paving the way for a stroke. Additionally, morning blood is more viscous, thicker. This increases clot risks, especially in those with high cholesterol, diabetes, or vascular disease. Combine this with elevated morning blood pressure and abrupt rising, and you have the perfect storm. That's why this simple habit, repeated daily, becomes an accumulated risk, silent but deadly. When you rise quickly from bed, a sequence of physical reactions occurs in seconds, and for those over 60, this sequence can spiral out of control. Upon suddenly moving from horizontal to vertical, blood, pulled by gravity, pools in the legs and lower body. To compensate, the heart must pump harder, and blood vessels must constrict to maintain proper brain flow. This mechanism, called the baroreceptor reflex, is automatic. But with age, it becomes less effective. The result is a sudden blood pressure drop, postural hypotension. When this happens, the brain may receive less oxygen. Neurons become distressed, even if briefly. You may feel dizzy, experience vision darkening, or sense impending fainting. This moment of circulatory instability is enough to trigger arrhythmias, brain ischemia, and, in vulnerable individuals, can be the spark for a stroke. Worse, if a fall occurs, the risk of head trauma compounds the danger. Your body needs time to adapt to posture changes. That's why how you get out of bed isn't a detail, it's a matter of brain safety. Not everyone reacts the same way to getting out of bed. Some have more resilient circulatory systems, while others, for various reasons, live in silent alert, often unaware. See if you identify with one or more of these risk factors. Hypertension. Constantly high pressure makes vessels stiffer and more fragile. Sudden swings, like abrupt rising, can rupture or block them. Blood pressure, depression, or insomnia meds. Many such drugs alter pressure control, leaving the body vulnerable to drops upon standing. Diabetes directly affects blood vessel health and brain flow regulation. Sedentary lifestyle weakens the cardiovascular system, slowing adaptation to movement. Cervical spine issues. Some people have compressed brain blood vessels when moving their neck or rising quickly. Dehydration. Sleeping without proper hydration reduces morning blood volume, increasing dizziness or fainting risk. These factors, alone or combined, turn a simple morning into unstable ground for the brain. Knowing your body and adapting morning habits is essential, especially if you have any of these conditions. Changing this habit could literally save your life. And the good news is, it requires no physical effort or financial investment. Just attention, awareness, and a few seconds each morning. Here's a simple, safe step-by-step for getting out of bed correctly, especially for those over 60. Upon waking, don't get up immediately. Stay lying down for 30 to 60 seconds. Take deep breaths to help your body exit rest mode gradually. Roll onto your side. This reduces strain when sitting up and avoids sudden spine or heart stress. Sit up slowly, feet still on bed. Stay seated for another 30 to 60 seconds. Assess how you feel. If dizzy, wait longer before proceeding. Place feet on the floor slowly. Use your hands on thighs or the bed's edge for stability. Stand up gradually. If unsteady, hold onto something fixed or sit back down. This entire process takes at most 2 minutes and can drastically reduce dizziness, falls, fainting, and, most importantly, morning strokes. Remember, how you start your day can determine your brain's health for life. Beyond abrupt rising, other common morning behaviors endanger brain health, especially after 60. Many seem harmless but directly affect blood pressure, circulation, and heart rate. Here's very hot showers upon waking, can dilate blood vessels, causing pressure drops. Combined with bathroom heat/humidity, fainting risks rise. Skipping breakfast, prolonged fasting after overnight sleep can cause low blood sugar, directly affecting the brain, dizziness, blurred vision, poor coordination. Intense early exercise. Exercise is vital, but start with light warm-ups. Sudden heavy exertion, stairs, lifting, abrupt movements, overloads the heart and nervous system. Rising in total darkness increases trip/fall risks, potentially as dangerous as a stroke for seniors. Morning stress, negative news, tense messages, or arguments spike cortisol, dangerously raising blood pressure. Small changes to these behaviors can improve circulation, stabilize pressure, and ensure your brain starts the day balanced. Strokes rarely warn before striking. But with attention, your body can give clear signals that something's wrong. And simple routine tests can uncover hidden risks before disaster strikes. Key warning signs. Frequent dizziness, especially when standing. New or persistent morning headaches. Momentary vision/speech loss, even if brief. Tingling/weakness on one side. Sudden balance/coordination changes. If you've experienced any of these, even once, don't ignore them. They may signal brain oxygen deprivation or irregular circulation. Preventive tests. 24-hour blood pressure monitoring. MAPA captures dangerous morning spikes. Carotid Doppler ultrasound detects artery plaques/narrowing. EKG/echocardiogram assesses heart health, directly tied to stroke prevention. Complete blood count/lipid panel identifies anemia, cholesterol issues, or clotting risks. Blood sugar/HbA1c evaluates diabetes control, critical for brain vessel health. Regular doctor visits, especially after 60, are a smart way to protect your independence, mind, and life. Now that you understand the importance of mornings for brain health, it's time to turn knowledge into action. What you do each morning can be your biggest risk or your strongest stroke protection. And it's entirely in your control. Key steps. Avoid abrupt rising. Follow the safe routine. Wake calmly, roll sideways, sit up slowly, then stand. Heed dizziness, tingling, or imbalance, especially mornings. Don't dismiss them as normal. Hydrate upon waking. A glass of water balances blood viscosity and aids circulation. Avoid very hot showers or intense effort right after waking. Give your body time to adapt. Control blood pressure and sugar levels, silent stroke villains. See your doctor regularly. A simple test can catch problems before irreversible damage. Aging well isn't luck, it's choice. And each morning is a new chance to choose health. If this video resonated, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Your action could save a life. Maybe yours, maybe a loved one's. Remember, the brain doesn't give second chances. Protect yours, starting at dawn.